thank you so much for joining tonight. So I was just introducing you.
Awesome.
Well, I'll have you introduce yourself as well. And I was just sharing that obviously you're joining me this evening to chat about you, your business, your experience inside Magnify, Manifest, Receive, and how you doubled your income. And like the way that I saw it too, in addition to the money, was like really stepping powerfully into like the CEO archetype within your own business.
Yeah.
And so many women don't realize that they're not functioning with like that level of leadership. And we're kind of missing that level of leadership within the business, right? It's obviously going to like impact the money that we're making. Because of how we make decisions, how we show up, how we lead with clients, how we lead with potential clients, etc. And so I loved that, even though like you came largely obviously for the financial upgrade which you received, you also like really stepped powerfully into this like deeper version of you that I thought was so beautiful and part of why I invited you on today. So Molly, before we get started, do you want to introduce yourself? And I'd love for you to just share like you, your business, and what brought you into my world to begin with.
Yes. So first of all, we're having a really bad thunderstorm, FYI, which is very random. So I have 2 dogs that are probably crying. So just like ignore that if you can.
It's okay. I have a dog.
It's very scary. Thunderstorms are always terrifying. Anyway, so yeah, let's see, my journey to you kind of started a couple of years ago. I found you. I was working in real estate actually in New York. This is pre-pandemic, and was kind of struggling in that aspect of my life. And I ended up actually getting laid off and moved home to Virginia, which was kind of a beautiful thing. I mean, it allowed me to take some time, reevaluate what I wanted to do with my life. And I ended up starting my own business. So I started, sorry, I'm so distracted with these dogs. I started my own marketing agency. And before I started working with you, I kind of felt like I was just an operator in the space. You know, I felt like there was a certain point where I felt like I was just working, you know, for these people versus having my own business and really owning my space there. So it's been a really awesome ascension over the past, I'd say, 4 or 5 months. I think it was June and maybe it started in July or June, but yeah, I mean, that was a huge turning point. It's funny, before I even hopped on the call with you, I was like, let's just see the numbers. So I looked at my revenue and it doubled when I was in MMR. So like, it's amazing. And beyond that, I was also thinking like, a couple of the big key takeaways, and we'll get into the details, but one big thing for me was also to hire someone, and you helped me with that. But you helped me with a lot of things. Raising my rates, huge. I wouldn't have had the confidence to raise my rates before, you know, joining the group. And then hiring someone, that process really, the idea started in MMR. And now I'm seeing the results from that because I've hired someone on part-time, and it's freed me up so much.
Yeah. And that's totally like the next level. So obviously when you're in Magnify, Manifest, Receive, which is, and it's kind of cool, right? Because you saw your income double, but when you were doing MMR, that was like purely like an energetic activation around wealth. And so I think that like, it can be surprising to hear that energetic activation doubled your income inside 8 weeks. And what happens is like, you expand your capacity to hold more money, expand your capacity to receive money. Like you just raise like, it's just like you start operating a different frequency that just commands a higher level of cash, honestly. And so then like, our actions also go out and reflect that in the world, or we get surprises, right? Like I think you're in your testimonial, you mentioned the first week clients coming in and you close them. And then like, these weren't things, because I remember one of the big things when you came to me is you always really felt like you had to hunt for business. I'd be like, babe, well, you came to a feminine energy business coach, and I can tell you, you don't need to. Yeah. And you're like, but. And I'm like, I promise you don't need to. If you want to sometimes, and it's in alignment, but like, you don't need to. If we like work on your frequency, like trust me, people will come to you. So what was it like too? Because I know it can sound intangible. experiencing like a wealth upgrade through doing the energetic side of the work, because most people are just like, oh my God, it must be like a new strategy away or something like that, right? And I'm sure when you were running your business on your own, you kept yourself, you were in the like how, and I'm like, it's not about that. Like there are hows, but we need to have like our energetic container actually like in alignment with what we want first.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, honestly, I think it was just committing to myself and my business was a really big game changer. And clients that had been like floating around, or like, you know, because we all have these people that are, you know, that are around. You've either had the conversation with them and they aren't committing, or they've been watching your Instagram stories or whatever. And once I signed up, I had a client commit. I signed on, I think within a week, I signed on another client for a monthly retainer, which is really great. And so that was really just, you know, the energetics. Nothing in my business had changed, you know, nothing that I was doing necessarily had changed. So that was really cool to see that it could just like, it could be easy. And the easiness has like just increased exponentially. And we can get into that a little bit later, because there's been some like big miracles that happened. And I really do think it was like from those energetics that, you know, I learned in MMR. It's coming through. For me, just in general, like it takes me, my body, everything a little while to integrate. So I do think a lot of that, like even now, like I'm catching up into that energetic upgrade. Does that
even
make
more? Yeah,
yes.
of course. Well,
yes.
This is why there's lifetime access to all of my programs. And I always say like a module with me is not a 10-minute riff. A module with me is like a whole course, you know? So like within the program, there it's a lot, you know, a lot to take in on purpose. But this is also why when you like show up, right, and you're open, you get results so quickly. Because it's what I'm here to teach. And I just have so much to share about it. And had you ever approached money and expanding your wealth and expanding your ability to receive and attract money the way that we did it before? Because I also feel like it's like everything that we did very much channeled through me, but I haven't seen anything like it really in the money space.
I don't know if I really understand the question.
So like the way that the program, like what you learned, how we flowed, we did the activations, there was the teachings, there was the homework, there was like the energetic work we did within. I'm sure you've done money work previously. I guess my question is like, how was it different for you than any money work that you've done before?
I hadn't actually, I've done some money work, but I hadn't really done group led money work. And I think what made it different, it was not necessarily the focusing on the money, you know, it was more focusing on the energy of money and the energy of stepping into your power to claim that money. And I think that's really powerful. Like, I think a lot of times, you know, I've done Lacey Phillips work around money, and that's very much looking into your past and all of your wounds and like really focusing on that. And I'm sure that's great. But for a long time, I felt like I was just in this like, okay, I know the wound, but it's not changing. And it was just like, I felt like I was still hitting the same walls and the same patterns. No matter how much I like, you know, had unearthed the trauma, I hadn't been able to move past it really, you know? So
yeah, the trauma digging can go on for a long time. And like,
yeah,
it's interesting because I teach money so differently, and obviously I'm so skilled at helping women make more money and through the way that I do it. And all of us who teach about, like, we do it in our different ways. But for me too, there's so much, and especially in this container, around the activation, right? I tend to attract women who already were committed into like the self-help space, right?
Right.
But it's like we're healing, and we're like, nothing is happening. Like, how many of us have been healing for like 100 years, right? And haven't really seen the leap and the result that we're desiring. And my side of the equation, and this is because my energy is naturally activating, so that's what's going to happen within my work, is like, yeah, but you're missing the activation that actually puts you in the energy of the next level. So for me, and what I've seen in supporting women is like, yeah, you can clear all day long, but then there's just kind of like this void, and you haven't like raised your frequency to meet the next level. You've just kind of cleaned out the house.
Yep.
You know, but it's like, okay, but now what's going in the house?
Yep. Exactly.
And so if we don't expand our power, and we don't, it just can sound sort of intangible till you've experienced. Now you've experienced, right? Like we don't even have to talk that much about money. It was like stepping you into the energetics of the different topics, right? Like attracting our fuck yes clients, right? Like surrender, all these different things, but it's largely about us. And then what happens within us is like what calls in the money, and what leads us towards the actions that continue to call in the money.
Yep. Yeah. And it's so funny. Like, I know that there was one, I mean, you're all about ease and money too. And
oh, we did have we have a whole module on let it be fucking easy.
Exactly. And like, I honestly can say that was the hardest thing for me. I think a lot of the foundational work started in MMR, especially deciding to get help. Like now that I have the help piece, I'm like, oh, I have my days back where like yes, I have stuff that I have to do, but like there is space for my creativity. And I have a marketing agency. A lot of my work is very creative, and I'm a very creative person, and it's creatively led. So I was starting to like feel the pinch and not have that, and even not have like the inspiration to do some of the work that I was doing. So anyway, that's something that like, MMR helped me like reclaim, I guess, was some of the freedom and flexibility.
And I feel like, because even before that, because you hired that person recently, but you turned on your creativity. That happened in like the first 2 weeks in MMR. You like totally changed your marketing and claimed the space that you wanted to market. And like literally you were like a new person on social media.
Yeah, that's huge. I'm so glad. Thanks for bringing me back, because it's been like a little bit of a,
and we've been together for a while now.
Yeah. But yes, that's so true. So another big thing, obviously to MMR is claiming your space and your power and claiming your authority. And that's not just confidence. It's actually like doing the shit to claim your space. And for a while there, because I had convinced myself that like people in my personal network weren't my customer or my ideal client. Because I'm an agency, I work with companies, I don't work with consumers. So in my mind, I was like, whatever, it doesn't matter if I post on social media, nobody's seeing me there. But I've gotten like several referrals from stepping into my power on social media. I got a dream client in the industry that I've been wanting by stepping into, my power in social media. So that was like a whole evolution. And I think before I joined, or in the middle of joining, I don't know if you remember, I did a huge rebrand, and I don't know if it was before I joined MMR.
I think that it was I just remember your marketing substantially changing while we were inside the container.
Yeah. So it must have been during, because I had this like hit of creativity. I knew that I wanted to focus on more luxury clients. In a luxury space, like craft. I have a couple of craft beer clients. I'm looking for, more winery clients. So anyway, I had this like hit of inspiration to completely rebrand the site and completely rebrand like my image online. And honestly, I just ran with it. I like one night I
remember you talking about this now. This was inside the container. Now that you're telling me the story, I remember. Yeah.
I think it was before I started the container. I think it was in MMR, because I was like, should I do it? Should I wait? Should I like, and you were like, no, go for it.
I remember. Yeah.
So I did. Like, I think I started at like 8:00 at night and just stayed up like really late one night and completely redesigned my website. And it feels so good. It feels so much more authentic. I look back to what I had been doing, and it's all a process when you start your own business. A lot of times we mimic other people, and it does sometimes take a person a while to figure out their authentic voice, their authentic image. And now I feel like I've hit my stride with authenticity and being true to my brand, myself. and my authority as well. So.
And one thing you mentioned, because right, I've said we get so deeply into accessing our soul's truth inside the container and our own power.
Yeah.
And just like what you said, so I always say, like, a business that is not fully rooted in your soul's truth, I don't mean the mission of it, but I mean the messaging, how it presents, the energy that you carry. I mean, every single nut and bolt of this business and how it presents online, if it is not representative of your soul's truth, it is going to be very hard to make money. Right?
Yeah.
If how we show up is not fully representative of our soul's truth, it's going to be very hard to make even more money. And so we won't always realize where we're not actually in our soul's truth because we've been so conditioned to outsource and like look over here and look over there and yada, yada. And so much of my work and like what you're explaining is that kind of like reawakening of our soul's truth to even like find out, like you don't even always know what it is.
Yeah.
You know, and then it gets woken up inside of you and it's like, oh my gosh, I want this. Whoa, the website needs a makeover. I want this. This whole thing's changing. Like, holy fuck, I'm awake.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, this is a bit of a tangent, but like once you find that authenticity, things that like are hard, like sales, if you find sales hard, if you find posting on social media hard, well, I think once you find your authentic voice in both of those and your confidence, because it's both, you know, your grounded confidence and your authentic voice, it's so much easier. It becomes fun. You know, like I have fun posting my own social media now because it's like I am a thought leader in my space. And that's really like a place of privilege almost, you know. I'm like very excited to be in that space and
But
owning
you
that.
claimed that. You
Exactly.
not how you felt when you came to me. You're
No.
saying this about yourself now.
No.
You were like, why would they do this? Why would, like, there was a lot more questioning and self-doubt.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Yeah, no, it's like so different. I mean, I have confidence around my financial numbers too, what I charge. And I'm finally behind this number that I feel really good about. And everything feels good and on point. So
I love that. And then what did you feel, right? Because like most women, you were kind of looking for success unintentionally, the masculine way, yet not seeing the results or even like the emotional fulfillment from doing so. And obviously Magnify, Manifest, Receive is a bit around awakening our full power, raising our wealth frequency and attraction, right? And of course there's aligned action that comes through getting deeper in alignment. But so much of what happens for the women in that container can feel like a quote unquote miracle, but it's not. We're like aligning you on purpose. So how has it been also stepping deeper into receiving in your business because you kind of like exited out of, because remember, like you told me, like you thought that you had to always be like cold messaging, etc., because of the type of business that you're in, etc. And I'd be like, I don't really think so. And since you've gotten so many more referrals because of the internal work that you've done, you awakening your soul's voice, that ended up reflecting in your brand like overnight, which is incredible. And so much has led to like now people can see you because you're you.
right.
So they're coming to you.
Yeah, I mean, I had been doing a lot of cold sales emails because again, I work B2B, so it's a little bit different. I'm not necessarily you know, the other thing to my business model is I don't need that many clients. So
right,
that,
it's different than being a coach. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So doing that is feasible. Like being a coach, you couldn't really do that. I wouldn't imagine. Anyway, I don't know anything about that. But
also love this lady. She's not a coach. Take note. I always say, I'm like, it does not matter. Your business to business. We have Corinne, who's a farmer. Fucking love it.
Yeah. 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 Totally. So what was I saying? Yeah, I was
stepping into your feminine and attracting in business versus always hunting for it.
Right. I think that, so for me, that what happened was more of an energetic shift. Like I still have that component in my business, but it's not everything. And I don't like
you are not in scarcity around it anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like I very much know that miracles happen and that, you know, like you can get clients people are able to see what you're doing and you have no clue sometimes. I had a friend from high school watching what I've been posting on Instagram and Facebook, and she reached out to me, and it was, I don't want to go into too much detail because
Yeah.
it's Instagram Live, but anyway, something like that is amazing. It's like and I guess what had happened, because again, I had told you, I was like, no one I know has a business. I'm not going to get referrals. I'm not going to get this and that. I think it's just been a mindset shift of like realizing that that's not true necessarily, and staying open to being able to receive, clients and referrals out of the blue,
Which
that
is
almost
what
feel like a
happened.
miracle. Yeah. And I got another referral this week too, which was amazing. So it's just like, the referral business is now greater than, my business, my cold sales outreach business.
Right. And so to me, that's feminine business, is like
Totally.
You're so in your power that you're attracting. It has nothing to do with taking bubble baths and whatever. It's like the frequency that we have around the business, and you're seeing the results of it.
Yeah, exactly. So, last month I hired my first part-time employee, and she's been amazing. She's so smart. She's so like, she's doing great work. And
also, let's talk about that, because it's like, okay, everyone's like, okay, great, we have the money to pay her. You were terrified to hire this woman. So like, we did not step into it like, oh, this is easy. You were like, holy fuck, can I hold this?
Terrified.
Now you're seeing how great it is. Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, I was terrified even 2 weeks ago, and now I'm like, oh, okay, I got this. So I think also that's a really good point to bring up energetically, because everybody's going to hit that edge of something that terrifies them. And I think you just have to do it and commit to it in a way that's going to like not, and you told me this, like commit to it in a way that's not going to blow out your system. Like I committed to her in a very like specific way with a very specific budget that I knew I could afford. It was pushing me though. It was like, okay, this is pushing me. I'm going to have to get more clients in order to like justify keeping on this employee. But I also knew, because I had seen this momentum building from when I joined MMR, like I've had this momentum, and I knew that if I didn't hire someone on to help me, I probably wasn't gonna like land more clients and more customers. And I'm like halfway to my big goal, which is awesome. But I think it's even closer. And this is what I wanted to like, it's so interesting. For the longest time, I have had a bigger like revenue goal, and I didn't know how I would get there. And then the past week and a half, things have happened and fallen into place. And I realize I can finally see how I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
I see it. It's like, okay, I just need these few things to fall into place and I'm at my goal. And that's really awesome. So another thing, just to backtrack, like some other amazing stuff that's happened. I've raised my rates on a lot of my clients, like not just the rates, but created more packaging opportunities for them. And one of my clients, I raised the rate by 4 times. They're paying me 4 times the amount that they were, which is incredible. And they paid me today. So, woo.
So good. Yeah, today I got paid. And I love this, because I always say, I'm like, every single woman who comes into my world, business to business, raises her rates with her existing client, they say yes, and she goes on to continue to make more money. 100% of the time this has happened.
I mean, I was like, I'm not going to lie, I was shocked that they decided to hop on board with this. Not that the pricing is shocking, because like my pricing and packaging is fair. It's actually, I just brought them in line with all of my current clients. They were one of my older existing clients. So I brought them up to like what I'm offering for everybody else.
But
so
it's still 4 times per month what they had been paying previously.
Exactly.
So that can lead to sticker shock, but it still always works. But anyway, keep going.
But yeah, it took them a while to respond to me. And I was like, I was okay with like, moving on and opening up the space for somebody else who could afford to pay that. And, you know, I knew it was really important for me and my financial goals to get to that price point. But anyway, they got back to me and like they're excited to work with me. It's going to be really, you know, I know now that I also have that budget, I can do the impactful work that I want to do for them. And that's been such a thing for me, is like when I have the budget, I am capable of doing so much more for my clients. And
Well,
that's
and
like
this is like when we're well paid, we deliver higher level work no matter what we do, you know?
totally. And I'm also just, yeah, it's so I'm really excited to dive into that. I'm more resourced having, you know, my person on board with me. So anyway, that was like one miracle that happened. I've been wanting to niche into the wine market, and I was like cold outreach, emailing people, like trying to, you know, form relationships online and stuff like that. And I had someone reach out to me who owns a winery, a small boutique winery, and asked me to do their marketing for their entire business, like build it out for them. And so that's happening. Hopefully, I mean, the wine's in like a port somewhere. We know how much that's a mess right now. But I'm like, come on. So that should be happening soon, which is like miracle number 2, or 3. I don't remember the order. I've been getting more referrals. I mean, it's just been like one thing after the other, and it just feels so incredible. And I feel like I'm really excited. And like I can hold it, and like I can hold my authority and my power. And it's just been like, you know, it's been incredible. I didn't think of myself. Here's another thing that's interesting, because I don't know if other women will feel this way, who follow you. I've been doing marketing years before, you know, I told you about my real estate, but I've been doing marketing for years before that. And I have a master's in art business. So like a lot of my strategy and branding and design is from my master's program. Despite having a master's, I still had no confidence. So there's that. Like, which is a little bit funny and a little bit, you know, because I thought having that master's would make me, you know,
You
feel.
know what I have to say about the endless certifications, etc. Yeah.
Yeah. And I, anyway, so, one thing that I like had a really hard time with when I decided to start this business was I couldn't envision myself as like a leader. I couldn't envision myself as a CEO or whatever, founder of a marketing agency.
Yeah, Jenny
Creative
saying
marketing.
the imposter syndrome is real. It is so real for
Yeah.
so many
Oh,
people,
I love her. Uh,
especially at the beginning of the journey. Go ahead.
yeah. And so I finally, you know, feel like, oh, I can do that. I can own that. That can be my place. I'm not there right now, you know, like because I have the one employee, but I can see myself getting more people and actually building a business that hires other people. So that's been really exciting, and that's a big transition, because I think that's like an identity shift, and that's huge, you know, like that's a really big deal, to be able to shift your identity from thinking that you know, you have to be one way if you're going to be, you know, if you're going to be a business owner. I always thought, especially an agency, I thought you had to be kind of, I don't know, very corporate, which I know agencies aren't necessarily, but yeah, it's been really cool to step into that space.
Well, I
And
think what you're saying in your words is really affirming what I always say is that like money's not responding to what you do, it's responding to who you are.
mm-hmm.
And so when you're talking about identity shifts, I love that way of explaining it. You had a massive identity shift in MMR, and you just become a complete, and this is why when I was titling the live, it was not only about you doubling your income, but about you stepping into the CEO energy.
Yeah.
It's a totally, as you feel now, it's a different fucking vibe.
Yeah. Such a different vibe. And I think like, I don't know, it's just even the way that my relationships with my clients is working. It's much more collaborative. I'm taking the lead in a lot more areas, where maybe, I mean, I had always done that with a lot of them, but yeah, it feels a little bit different. I feel like there's more collaboration, there's more creativity, there's more support on my end. Like I feel like I'm supporting them more. I'm capable of supporting them more, which is great.
Well, and also I just even meant how you're leading yourself and your vision, right? Because now
Mm-hmm.
your vision, you said that you can feel the vision, you can see the vision, you can understand how you'll arrive. Until that happens, we aren't getting anywhere close to it, right? So
Yeah.
you were wanting it in theory, but then feeling like your core did not match up with the vision. And then there was these weird things about the vision that you didn't want. So it kind of kept you in this loop-de-loop because your energy body doesn't even know where it's going, right? There is no North Star. There is
Yep.
no lighthouse to align to because it felt out of alignment / like you couldn't do it or you weren't the type.
Yep.
And so also part of why your income, just energetically speaking, has gone up, continues to go up, and the referrals continue to come, etc., is because you now not only have like a idea in your mind of where you're headed, you actually now feel and see that like you are going to arrive there.
Yeah.
And we've like bridged the gap between like a dream and like no something that's fucking happening in your life, period, the end.
Yeah.
It's not like a fantasy now. And so when you shift that energy through all the work we've done, through the showing up the ways you've shown up, and also I want to share it too, like Molly was so dedicated. You were just, it was so, I feel like the work was foreign to you, but you also just totally went all in.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's, right. I also remember feeling really excited to be in a supportive group of women who were on the same journey as me. Like that was really important for me because, I mean, with COVID and with starting your own business, there can be like elements of isolation there. And like it's like I can have conversations. I just needed to be around people who were on the same path as me. I mean, obviously we're doing different things, but like we're on the same path to financial success and freedom and like doing it in our like feminine, juicy, non-corporate way, like I needed that kind of environment. And so I was so excited to be part of that. And that was really important. Like that was really fun for me. And like I felt so engaged during, all of the lives, had so many questions and loved the conversation afterwards too. So
Yeah, and we all need community. It's not just you, right? Like
right.
we're intentionally building lives, creating businesses, doing things that most people don't do or have, which means that surrounding yourself with most people isn't really the ticket to arrival, right?
Yeah.
Like we are like sponges in terms of the way that we absorb energy, information, etc. And this is so much of, and we need to also see that other people are doing these things that we desire also so they don't continue to feel like a fantasy. Because for you, I know there was women who were way ahead, a little ahead, arriving to where you are. Like there's really the gambit in that container where we all are professionally. But what I love about it too is it doesn't matter because wealth, the energetics around the wealth and around the receiving aren't based on your income level.
Right.
Like it has nothing, there is nothing that's in the container that has anything to do with you. It's not about your income level. It's about you.
Yeah.
And so I love that it's also built to serve so many women at different levels,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's really great for everyone in the container because you get to be in the energy of people at all different levels for expansion or where we want to like reach back and help someone else who has a question as well.
Yeah. I know. I loved that. I mean, Noxie is a photographer and she's like, been in the industry for a long time. And I do a lot of product photography within my business. That's like,
and she was actually on, I interviewed because
last
Noxie
week.
had her first 30K month in our work together and she's on
Yep.
the podcast episode right prior to yours. So 42 for anyone
Yes.
who wants to go hear about her journey, but keep going. And
So
she was
yeah,
just similar.
I mean, I was just so like inspired by her and her work and like hearing her story also, like hearing where she was made me humanize, that next level.
Totally.
And I think that's really important to see that it's like, you still need to do you need to do the energetic work. You need to like, I don't know. You still have like struggles, even if you are at that next level.
Yeah, I do money work every day and I'm where I am. This isn't
right.
like, you don't just fall into place here.
Right.
It's like dedication for real. And we're still human. And I do think, especially like when the numbers feel far, we do, for some reason, carry this complete misconception that somehow these people receiving at this level aren't human anymore.
Yeah.
Or don't have struggles or don't have wobbles. And it's the furthest thing from the truth. We might just have more experience moving forward faster, more time, really, just also like getting where we're going. And but it never stops being a human experience, because remember too, when you get to one level you're stretching towards the next, so then you can have a story about that next place.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that next place for me. Like, I have the next goal, and I'm like, I wonder how I'm gonna get there. And I'm really curious about the goal after that. I'm like, what's gonna go on there?
But isn't it fun to come from this side of like, oh my God, it just gets to get better and better and better, instead of being, because before you were just fearful of could it ever happen, and now you're already like stretching to the next place from a place of like excitement.
Totally. I mean, I never thought it would be like, it would feel fun like this too, where it's like, there isn't, because I was not, I mean, I was really in scarcity mode, and because my numbers were so small, like I was stressed out all the time. And it really does make a difference. Like, you need to, money is so powerful because it can really, I mean, it takes care of you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so much less
Yeah.
stressed, more creative. Like, it really is important to have those, like, have your money shit together, you know?
So what would you say? Because obviously, right, so you came in the place of like, I'm worried about money, I'm in scarcity about money, but I know I need to invest in this container to get support. And then you were like, and now I want to keep, I got results here, this was a fucking vibe, and now I want to keep going. And
I think the price for MMR was just such a, like, it was so fair. It was so, it
well,
felt,
to me, MMR is like a no fucking brainer. If you want help from me in that container live and with the results, it's like, get the show on the road, because this probably will not stay this way forever. I'm like, this is the absolute most accessible I can possibly make it for you to get live and like deep wealth frequency up leveling work. Like,
exactly.
for sure.
Exactly. I mean, I was just like, I think you offered, I signed up like as soon as you offered it.
You did pre-sale. Yeah.
I did pre-sale. Like, I thought about it for like a day or so, and I was like, fuck it, we're doing it. Like, I was at this point where I was like, I know that I need support, because I've been trying to figure it out on my own. I'm not getting there. You know, like, I knew that I needed someone to help me get there, like get to where I want to be. And I'm like, I mean, yeah. So I'm really thankful for it. And it was just this energetic, like almost like, what's the alternative, I guess? Like, what is the alternative?
Well, we have to think about opportunity costs. It's like, we're worried about moving that money, but I'm like, do you know what you're giving up by not?
Yeah, I mean, like, again, what is the alternative to not doing this? Am I just gonna stick it out, try to figure it out on my own, like, not have the support, not get where I want? I mean, I was just over that. I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not gonna, like, I'm going to try this. And clearly it's worked, because, you know, I mean, looking at my revenue, I'm like, okay, yeah, I doubled, and then I doubled again. And I'm like, it feels good too. And I'm not stressed out because I was able to hire someone, which was like really important.